here with Mr. Zulkifli Ahmad, representing P098, the district of Gombak. And today I will be asking you a series of questions related to the climate and governance, and you'll be given some time to answer them. And then at the end, we can there will be some time allocated for you to elaborate on anything else you might wish to share.
Sure.
All right. So we will begin with the first question. Will you push for or table and vote in favor of the urgent enactment of the Malaysian Climate Emergency Act by Climate Action Week 2023, September 17 next year?
Yes. If I had mentioned to recently in Taman Melawati, we had an informal discussion, I had highlighted that the Emergency Act, the Climate Emergency Act, is actually overdue. This is not just Malaysia, this is quite a global thing. And the science is already there, that we need to take some action. Some scientists have said that we are too late, but there are some who say that whatever little that we can do, we must do it. So to me, to support that act is a no-brainer. And all MPs should go for it. In fact, I was even inclined to support a legislation to show how urgent it is that we should have a moratorium from logging for the next 25 years. Why 25 years? Because under the selective management system of forest harvesting, this goes back from the UK time, from British time in Malaysia. They have found that 25 years for Malaysia, over a 250 hectare area, is a nice nice volume for us to harvest the forest. So every 25 years. So after 25 years, the forest is supposed to have grown and matured more. So that's why I was asking, stop for 25 years, because we want to stop the abuse that has been done before. Of course, it's difficult for us to prove that there is any abuse, because it's in the forest. Who goes into the forest? Not many people can get access to the forest. It's very dangerous as well to go into the forest. I was in forestry for 4 years, and I was the industry director for the whole country. And I saw this, and I wanted this to be implemented in order for the forest to be able to rejuvenate itself and come back to play its role. That's why the Climate Emergency Act must be implemented. If it can be done immediately, do it immediately, because it's already there. The damage is there. Okay, there may be some questions that there are some interested parties who are involved in getting the proceeds of this logging. Well, then we are rich enough. We've already squandered 40 billion, maybe more. Why not we reserve some in order to help people who are affected by this? For example, there may be people who are dependent on the forest industry. Then we've got to find means or mechanism to help them to go through this period of moratorium. But nevertheless, it has got to be done, because the earth requires to rejuvenate itself. It needs time for it to come back. Biologically, it takes time. You cannot rush growth, biological growth. You cannot rush it. It needs time, and then from there only you can see the effect of its recovery. Then we have a better environment, a better atmosphere. That's my opinion.
Thank you for your insights into why the Climate Emergency Act should be enacted and what its relation is to deforestation and protecting our natural environment. The next question is, will you push for or table and vote in favor to institutionalize the just transition mechanism of the fossil fuel economy towards a low carbon society, also by the Climate Action Week next year in September?
Okay, this is a very good move actually. Malaysia, okay, last time I was told that Malaysia, although we have a lot of sun, a lot of solar time, but our solar quality is not very high. We do not produce enough power for us to go for solar power. But this technology has changed now. We have got Fresnel lenses, technology that has been able to extract even if there's a little slithering of light is useful for the country. So in other words, even if it is overcast by clouds and so on, it's okay. The technology now has allowed us to benefit from solar energy, but not just solar. We must go for wind energy as well, waves or whatever. This must be studied and must be researched specifically to the Malaysian environment, the Malaysian climate. And a white paper need to come up in order to see what are the promising energy resources that can be utilized. One thing, this may not be very popular, but I'm an engineer, so I'm science-based. Actually, one of the most green energy, but very, very unpopular, only now the technology has already caught up and able to assure safety, is actually nuclear energy. Surprise, huh? Surprise. It is the greenest energy, actually. For such a small amount, we get so much energy. But because it is dominated by some interested countries, we do not have access to it. We do have a research center in GDIMY, I think, doing research on nuclear energy and so on. But we must look into it. Recently, Germany stopped using nuclear energy, but they bought imported energy from France. So that's hypocrisy to me. We believe that although there is the occurrence of Fukushima, 3 Mile Island or Chernobyl, that did occur, but technology has caught up. We must make sure we have the professionals to ensure that the safety is ensured. Only then we can allow nuclear energy to be considered as an alternative for non-fossil fuel. But again, it's something that needs to be considered, something that we got to sit down, and experts must be employed. That's why I want to stand for Gombak. I'm a technologist. I'm a technocrat. I've graduated from a mechanical engineering background. I have read very widely, and I've met so many people. My journeys during the service was far and wide throughout the world, and I understand, and I will be making very wise decisions given the vote from Gombak.
Thank you for your answer that relates back to your science background. It's very interesting. And now for the third question. Will you push for or table and vote in favor of the Freedom of Information Act so the public can access information related to environment and climate and all administrative and governance matters not directly related to national security?
Yes, science-based people are not afraid of information. We like information and we love information. We do not want anyone to hoard information or take on the stand whereby they feel that they have the right to have information and not the rest of you. No, that's not right. We cannot say that we are we know the best. We know what is best. We shouldn't do that. That is very arrogant. We must put the information to the public and let people decide and talk about it. But the experts must decide. A council of experts. Of course, we cannot let a group of fools suddenly make a decision that goes against themselves. They must be guided, and there must be people who understand the science of it and prove it to the public that this science is for the benefit of the people, not at the expense of the people. This is what we want. But remember, people, when I say people, means everyone, not just people, but may also include animals, include plants, include responsible those sectors whereby we may not realize, including to me the spirit of the jungle, for example. If you believe it, we must understand there are other aspects of life, which, if not just material, but as well the other aspects of life which need to be catered for and respected. Only then we can live in harmony in this world. But if you start, steamrolling everything and just bring things all under one category, and then you ignore the other interests that may be around, the sensitivities of people, of cultures, of, for example, the Orang Asli, they have cultures. We've got to respect them. But nevertheless, the truth still prevails, okay? What is science is science. what is the tradition or culture, respect them. But there must be a point where we must meet and come together to give the right answers to the nation. That is how I feel this climate thing.
All right. And regarding this Freedom of Information Act, do you foresee yourself tabling this by Climate Action Week next year, September 17th?
Given the opportunity, I would volunteer myself to do it because I'm a man of science. I have the information, I have access to it, and I have experience of using information for the people. I just want to highlight to you, somewhere in do you remember? I don't know whether you realize that there was the MRR2 fiasco. Remember, there was cracks in the MRR2 near Kapong, the bridge about 1.7 kilometers, where there were 7,000 cracks there. And at that time, the minister at that time was adamant that there's no problem with it. But actually, there was a problem with the science of the design. And the Director General of JKR refused to accept that bridge. But the minister wants to accept that bridge at that time. If you can go back to history, I was involved in it. I was in the middle of it. And I was trying very hard to expose this. And I managed to get access to the Prime Minister at that time, Datuk Sri Abdullah Ahmad Badawi. And on that fateful Friday, when we showed him all the information, all the data that shows that this bridge is about to collapse, and 3,400 people who will be queuing up the bridge will die or will face a calamity if the bridge collapses. That was the time Datuk Sri Abdullah Ahmad Badawi made a decision. He said, close the bridge, repair it. The minister at that time refused and still, still do not want to accept that this is the fiasco is on. So that was what happened. And now, how many years now? I've left that left the department as well. But I was in the middle of it, and I managed to allow the Prime Minister to engage with my Director General, who was stopped by the minister at that time. The Prime Minister met our Director General, and then the science was presented. This is exactly the reason why we want the information to be free, to be available to everyone. There must not be anybody trying to monopolize on information. If someone tries to hoard information, hoarding information, keeping away from people, there must be some problem there. There must be some interest that they're trying to protect. There must be some wrongdoing that is happening in that particular example. So that's why I believe my experience in JKR, in forestry, in that Prime Minister's department as the first Pemuda director at that time, I feel that I have enough information and enough experience to go through the processes, and no one can stop me because I know what is right and what is wrong. And no one can simply just abuse and stop me and curtail my movement if I feel that this is something that needs to be fought and to be presented to the public. And the consequence of getting the wrong representative in Gombak is that we shall continue as we are. But if you take the right step and select the best among us or someone who is capable to do the work, then I think there will be some changes that shall occur.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad. And now on to the next question. Will you push for or table and vote in favor of the Citizens' Freedom to Criticize and Question Governance Act on all matters of government, especially related to the protection of the environment, indigenous people's rights, biodiversity and wildlife rights, climate and social justice that will allow the citizens of Malaysia the liberty from prosecution and persecution in defending their rights to rule of law, clean air and water, ecosystem and human rights protection, and all other fundamental liberties, also by Climate Action Week 2023.
That's a very good sum up of items that need to be made immune. The immunity for someone who raised that, if anyone raised that matter, he should be immune. And that must be written somewhere. So that's a sacrosanct statement so that people cannot simply change it. Those points, probably they're more than that. Okay, not just what you have written there. There may be many more. We do not want people being curtailed by the information that they have. Let everybody have access to those information. But of course, science must come in. The council of learned people must take charge and be able to regulate the situation. I mean, of course, I'm quite sad that there's a lot of issues happening about the COVID-19 vaccine. No? There are some anti-vaxxers and so on, which I felt probably need to be handled better, rather than just right now, the Ministry of Health sometimes are trying to hide information. And not just that, sometimes the inkling or the suggestion that there are vested interests, okay? People who make money from all this. I think this is so sad that this should happen. We should not allow the lives of the people to be left and to be put at stake when the welfare of the people should be the most important consideration of all in this issue. So I'm just showing an example of the anti-vaxxers, which can happen in these other areas as well. So we must be careful. There must be probably the learned people who are of high learning must be able to be selected and do their work. I mean, I don't want these selected people of learning start politicizing themselves, and then in the end just make matters worse. What is important is for people to not have vested interests, who are sincere and who believe in what they're doing. That is important.
All right. And now on to the next question. Will you defend and push for measures to ensure the protection of existing forest reserves in your state and to encourage the same in other states so that forests remain intact as whole functioning ecosystems to ensure continual protection of Malaysia's rich biodiversity, water catchment areas, and our rights to the green environment?
I mentioned earlier
Yeah.
that I want a 25 years moratorium, and after that, we have a tree planting campaign so that the trees can be rejuvenated and our lovely land, our fertile land is able to become the stronghold or the place where we can store the oxygen. We produce the oxygen in the day, and of course by photosynthesis, and at night, of course, then there will be less, so people also sleep. But to be the what do you call it, the biggest producer of oxygen through our forests, that is important. A moratorium is important. If people say that other people who are interested, who have got life stake, who have a stake in their lives, in their livelihood, then let's organize it, let's manage it. There may be some methods or ways to overcome it. We're not poor. We've got commodities, we've got minerals, and we've got things that we can do. That is Malaysia. Remember how many scandals we've gone through? The BMF, the Terengganu scandals, and then macam-macam scandals. Thousands of billions of dollars have been lost, but we still survive. We still are able to do it. If we can prevent these scandals, so much more can be done. We can have so many hospitals, and so much services for the benefit of the people. If only we come together, choose your right representative, and do not allow any numbskull to lead you and become your representative in parliament. That is what I feel need to be done, and people should feel the urgency. We have only tomorrow for you to think about before our election on Saturday. I'm ready, and I wish that I could do more than this. Unfortunately, we are a party. We are Bahtera Sejahtera, but the party Bahtera Sejahtera. But for 1 year, we could not get registered, and there's so many going back and forth for so many petty reasons, which I felt is quite unbecoming of a civil servant in the registrar of societies. They should do better than that. I'm a civil servant. I'm proud of my work. I do my work well, but there are some who I think are too weak and succumb to higher ups. So it's so sad for them.
All
right?
right,
That's how.
Ahmad. We are almost approaching the end of our interview, and as it is, we
Yes.
have about 5 minutes left. There are two
Okay.
questions left, so I'll move on to question 6. Will you push changes in law or table in Parliament to bring back local council elections?
There's gambling now. Can you restate it?
Oh,
Question.
yes, sure. Will you push changes in law or table in Parliament to bring back local council elections?
Okay. About local council elections, is something which is, to me, probably need to be discussed further. Because at the moment, there may be the danger of the local council, they call it the third force, or the third pillar. You have the Dewan Rakyat, and you've got this, you got this judiciary, executive, and the legislative. Now, when you talk about the local council, it needs to be defined very clearly that they are concerned about their local affairs only. But sometimes, although local, it can encroach into the state and as well the federal. So this needs to be discussed very carefully, very finely. I do not want to comment on that one at the moment. I see why we need for that, but I still see there may be abuse that can occur if that happens. And then you've got a condition where the country would not be able to work. That should not be allowed. There must be authority, and that authority, if they are properly advised, they are properly, they have got the information, and they are sincere and properly advised, and the roadmap is clear, then that authority must exercise their authority. But if some lower levels begin to upstart or begin to sabotage a higher level, it's a problem to the nation. So we must be able to prevent this, or rather preempt such things from happening. See how we want to develop this local council. It was eradicated last time for some reason, maybe racial, maybe some other reasons. So let's learn from it. And to me, local council is something that can be considered but need to be discussed further.
Thank you for that. Now for the last question. Do you place your voters and constituents and their needs, rights, and aspirations over that of your own political party and your conscience and morality?
It's got to be a balance between all those. The constituents, the party, my own conscience, and what I believe in need to be balanced. With the ideal is everything is in synchronous. What do you call it? They agree to each other. That's ideal. But there may be differences, some small differences, which may be tolerated. Then we can come to a compromise. But if there are big differences, for example, the constituents wants me to go date against my religion, I can't do that. I've got to be based on my principles. I can't allow the majority to ask me to do something bad. So based on those issues, I believe that I will fight as much as possible for the interests, the legitimate interests of all the people. But if there be some illegitimate interest, for example, LGBT, I can't do that. It's against my interest, against my religion, and against my belief. But of course, I recognize that there are LGBT interests in the society, and we need to manage it in some way. But if you ask me to be to condone this, I can't do that. I can't go against my principles and my beliefs. And I believe, because I'm a Muslim, and I believe in the hereafter, and I believe there are tenets, there are principles that we need to adhere to become good citizens living in this world. But there may be small people who are different inclination, etc. Let's manage it. As long as they don't go against the law, then we've got to expect the situation. We must be able to see that the situation must respect the law. That is how I see it. Then, Ryan, there's so many things that's happening in this world. There are many things that you don't even expect, you don't even know that exist in this world. But we need to have those broad and larger principles to govern us, for us to survive, for us to be able to live together in harmony. Only then we can be able to go through life in a very respectable, decent, and happiness in the place where we live. So that's how I look at it. Of course, I'm a party bebas now, but nevertheless, my party is a very, of course, I've got to say the best about my party, right? I'm the leader. I'm the president of that party. Our vision and our mission is very clear. We want to have people of high caliber to be with me in the party, and these people of caliber are able to lead the nation with understanding and knowledge. Now, if there be situations whereby I myself have to go against my party's position, I will have to, make sure there is a way out. For example, in UK or even Malaysia, there will be times when the issue that is discussed is matters that are open. Don't have to be partisan about it. Just opinions of the individual. Then I will let it open. But if there are situations where the other party or the opposition party, if I am in the government, I am the government, and the opposition party are just going against the government for the sake of going against the government because they're opposition, I will not allow that. We must be clear how we translate our interests into action and into votes. That's why we become a group, because there are 222 member of parliament. If they start putting themselves together and become small groups and so on, and then there will be chaos. There must be some sense. So as I say again, guided by knowledge, guided by science, then we are able to do it. And I would like to appeal to, right now I'm in Gombak. Of course, they say are majority Malays, but to me, I am at a disadvantage. Most of the voters will not vote for me because they are already together with the other parties, and they are very well funded. I have nothing, but I have the knowledge, I have the expertise, and I would like to offer that to the people of Gombak, whether they are Malays, non-Malays, Muslim, non-Muslim, whatever. All will benefit from my leadership, inshallah.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad. So now that the interview section is done and the questions are all finished, I will pass this over to you now. You have about 3 minutes to promote your campaign and tell people why it is they should vote for you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, number one, I believe that what I have to offer is something that all the other candidates are not offering. I don't have the time to go through what they have said, but I would like to show, I would like the people to realize that what I have to offer is something very valuable that doesn't come all the time. Not many people have this background and knowledge. I'm already 64. The wisdom is there, but I need to express it and to share it with all the people of Gombak. Gombak is a very nice enclave. It's large. It's got a lot of potentials. As I said earlier, the environment is something that we should be working for. We've got the rivers, we've got the river Gombak, we've got other rivers, and we've got many areas where Gombak can allow us to have recreational freedom and able to make a lot of happiness with the people. But unfortunately, this is not being developed. The recreational part is not being developed. You may have air terjun, a waterfall, but it may be dangerous. It needs to be developed. That's where engineering comes in. That's why I'm offering this, in order for us to be able to develop whatever potentials that Gombak has. The biggest that I see now is the University Islam Antarabangsa and the environment around it. We could realize the Islamic city around and which can be benefited by everyone. Islamic city, not just for the Muslims and the Malays only, but for everybody. If we have a comprehensive medical system, medical facility in Gombak, I'm sure that can be done. If we can develop training institutions for sub-professionals in the health service, that can be done. And then I was saying the communication, there must be a spur line that connect right to the Islamic University, and then to develop the other parts so that people can use the LRT for their benefit. And only then I think Gombak can develop. But now Gombak is a Malay ghetto, somewhere where people are not proud of being in Gombak. I want to change that. Let's do it together by having me as your representative in this election. Day after tomorrow, vote number 4, IR Haji Zulkifli with the logo pen. The pen is mightier than the sword. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope Allah will give us the guidance, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, and all the best to all of you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ahmad. Yeah, I wish you all the best in the upcoming election.